But of course, it's Fridays, and that is time for Free Speech Fridays, when we get to free speaking and free thinking New Zealanders, and we run through the events of the week with them. This is brought to you, of course, by our friends at the Free Speech Union. They are the champions of free speech in New Zealand, and you can find them at, when I get my glasses on, fsu.nz. That's where you go, fsu.nz. You can see what the Free Speech Union are up to, the many projects they're involved to promote and protect free speech in the country. And if you have a problem, if your speech is being impeded, they are the people to help you. The Free Speech Union, fsu.nz. Now, we have our guest. We have one of our guests available right now, and we're just trying to... Muriel Newman, get off the phone, because apparently we have Muriel Newman and Leah Molloy joins us from Auckland. We've got lots to get through. Did you give me a rundown of topics? You didn't, Ben. You useless bugger. You didn't, did you? You didn't write it on the run sheet. So, well, don't text it to me now. Get Muriel up and we'll get into it. Can I just say the texts are going off after that interview with the with Sandra Hazelhurst, who didn't have much of an idea about what democracy looked like. And boy, did she sound indoctrinated and silly. She threatened to end the interview a couple of times, but I managed to charm her back into staying. Disappointing interview. I thought you would have let Sandra woke Hazelhurst, her ratepayers know that her ratepayers are about this, says Kelly. Sean, we should go back to having Hooton like in the old English times. It means a meeting of the older wise people. Hazelhurst is trying to ensure she doesn't get cancelled. Yeah, I bet she is. Sean, you should have pressed Sandra and called her out for lying. She knows what parties they represented in Parliament. This will be getting to the bottom of who's driving this stuff. Keep pushing on this story and link up the socialist liars. Cheers, Ricky. Okay, let's get slightly late the free speech underway because she's now with us. We have, you're going to put them to air, Ben? Yes, you are. A warm welcome from the to Muriel Newman, who has been on the program before and joins us now. Muriel, how are you? Welcome.
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's all right. And Leah Molloy joins us from Auckland. How are you, Leo? It's been a while.
I'm very fine, thank you, Sean. Hope you're well.
I am. Look, guys, it's come up this morning. It's absolutely gone off, this decision by the Hastings District Council to have members of its unelected youth council, who are all the kids with badges on their lapels, and probably members of School Strike for Climate Change, they are now going to sit on subcommittees of the council, have voting rights, and maybe even get paid. What a wonderful idea, eh, Muriel?
Oh, for goodness sake, when's all this going to end? You know, I really do think that it's time the coalition government looked into this and essentially banned councils from having all these unelected people on their various committees with voting rights. If they didn't have voting rights, it wouldn't be so bad. But it's just got completely out of control.
Yeah, Leo, there's an old saying, no taxation without representation. How can a 17-year-old be sitting there making decisions for ratepayers? Some 17-year-old who probably, hasn't even been kissed.
I've got no idea, Sean. It's just one of the extravagances that you see of the left, isn't it? They're just fighting for survival. But, yeah, I think we're well
Now, I hadn't mentioned politics. Do you think this sort of undemocratic stuff is generally a woke lefty trend, Leo?
Of course it is. Yeah. What do you attribute it to, then?
Okay. Muriel, do you think it is a woke left thing to abandon democracy?
Absolutely. You know, they're trying to undermine it, aren't they? And they're trying to find new ways around it. And this is one where, it's created problems. And it's not just, to be honest, it isn't just the voting right issue either. It's having people on council who will then pick off individual councillors who are not voting in the right way, in quotes. And so it's intimidation, it's bullying is behind all of this, and it's wrong.
Yeah, also the other thing is I asked, why didn't you consult your ratepayers about this? She said, we told them on Monday. They had the vote on Friday, and she cast the casting vote for change. And I always thought, Muriel, tell me if I'm wrong, when you're on a representative committee or you've got a casting vote, there is a protocol that you vote for the status quo.
Well, that's correct.
Okay, that is correct. I wasn't making that up. Good.
Yeah, to spring it on, a council as well without proper due process is wrong. And also, to be honest, I think this is one of those issues that they should be widely consulting their communities over.
Yep.
As you say, it's a group of young radicals. They're going to be pushing a green agenda. This is at a time, of course, where the government has signalled that it wants to get rid of councils looking into well-beings, including environmental well-being.
Yeah.
And so it's, it is a political tactic, and it's wrong.
Yeah. Look, guys, let's get back to also the news of the week. And I presume you're not in conflict with the constabulary at the moment, Leo. How do we feel about the departure and the nicely nuanced departure to a very interesting new job of the Police Commissioner, Cuddles Costa? Muriel?
Well, it's a sort of a hard one to put your finger on. I sort of think to myself, the job he's gone into is a really important role for this government.
Yep.
They're putting a lot of store on the new agency that they're creating. And so, to be honest, they must have confidence that he can do the job. Otherwise, I don't think they would risk, their new agency over it. So, it's sort of, I don't think I noticed he said the parliamentary protest was his finest hour. I think that was, the exact opposite. Yeah, so it's an unexpected move. Put it like
and that's, Leo, it is unexpected. Does it suggest perhaps, Leo, that people who nicknamed him Lantern, quite bright but needs carrying, were right, and that he really is quite a yes man, which is why he was so identified when, the left were in with left-wing causes and ideologies, but he might be equally pliant for a coalition government that's more centrist?
Yes, it could be. I suppose it depends on what role you give him and how much real power he has associated with that role. I would have thought there wouldn't be too much power where they've directed him towards. So I have low expectations for Costa, but with regard to where I am at with the police personally, it doesn't really matter where I'm at. The point of the matter here is this is the worst kept secret in town for some time. National's well rid of him, as they have been doing. They've managed to replace him or put him over into a situation. I think Guy Chambers is replacing him, isn't he? Is that correct?
Well, no, that's what I was going to ask you, Ned. You know the police better than I. Who is going to be the new police commissioner?
Well, I think it's that guy Richard Chambers, isn't it?
Okay, and what's he like? What do you know about him?
I think he's more in the style of Mitch, isn't he? He's in that old school, I'm a proper policeman style. Is that correct, Muriel? Am I talking rubbish here?
Yeah, no, you've got more information than I have.
Oh, okay. You see, that's why I was tricking Leo into giving it all away. All right, but overall, on balance, I think Costa had perception issues that he survived. I think he'd changed his tune somewhat. And it does go to show, I think, that New Zealanders, how we feel about our police commissioner actually reflects how we feel about our police force, guys. Maybe it's quite an important, whoever does replace him, it's quite an important, if you like, PR move to get the right person in there, Muriel.
I think you're right. It is interesting, that the gang sort of thing that broke the other day, where they arrested most of them, it was a 3-year operation from what I read. And so there's possibly quite a lot going on behind the scenes in this crackdown on crime that, we didn't really know about, but it was under Costa's watch. And the thing is that some of it is long-term, isn't it? So it takes a while to actually surface.
Oh, look, the government was milking those gang busts for all they could. That was definitely part of a PR push, I'd say. Yeah.
But while crime rose, and you tend to think,
that's why you do it.
the police commissioners...
Don't worry about the actual statistics. These bad... Look at all these pictures of drugs and guns. That's what they do, isn't it, Leo?
Right.
No, not really. I don't know what they do, actually, but some of them have very important roles up here in Auckland, just meeting and greeting with us, which is probably important because I'm a little bit Auckland-centric, as you know.
All right. Look, I want to move on. I want to talk about... sort of law and order again. I want to talk about our courts and the fact that this week there have been a couple of really interesting legal machinations. Don Brash, who you know, Muriel, and you've met Leo. Don Brash called the lawyers in on Matthew Hooton for saying something about his character on an all-subscribed podcast by Bomber Bradbury and Damien Grant. And it looks like, as we speak, literally, Matthew Hooton is desperately trying to take back the mean things he said about Don. Then we have, and we did an interview with Chantelle Baker yesterday, who has had what I understand is a substantial out-of-court settlement after a threat of defamation action against the Herald and Kate Hanna from the Disinformation Project. The Herald aren't saying how much their shareholders had to fork out to Chantelle Baker, but they have settled out of court. And Chantelle Baker says she's now going after Kate Hanna and Stuff over their Fire and Fury documentary. It feels to me, Muriel, like people are empowered to say to the experts, to the cancel culture mob, and to the mainstream media, we're not putting up with that bad behaviour with cancel culture anymore.
Look, I think you're exactly right. I think the tide has turned. I think we have the new government to thank for that. So the ethic now is that, all this business of calling people racist and trying to destroy their integrity, the government is saying we're not putting up with that anymore. And the public are picking up on it. And I think it's about time, to be honest.